Hello everyone and welcome back to the FilmBunker Podcast. Today you're here with Nick and 4 people who are going to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Simon. Films.
I'm Matt, and I've got a letter from the legal officers of Weinberg and Moenstein in regards to some comments I made about a Mr. Zachary Snyder. 300 was a great film, and it launched the venerable, which is both spelt incorrectly and not a word, career of Gerard Butler. And Batman versus Superman was a great... I can't do it. I can't finish this. You and me, Zack Snyder. Justice Dawns.
In the parking lot.
2 hours after the podcast.
Oh my god. Hi, my name's Ben. And this morning, outside my window, I saw Jamie Lee Curtis. And then I realised it wasn't Jamie Lee Curtis. It was just a slightly older woman with greying short hair wearing glasses.
It was Jamie Lee Curtins.
And this is Kelsey, and I've got a joke, if I can give it to you guys.
It would be better than what we said.
Okay, so a bear and a rabbit were taking a shit in the woods, and the bear looks over to the rabbit and says, "Do you have trouble getting shit stuck in your fur?" And the rabbit says, "No, not at all." So the bear picks up the rabbit and wipes his ass with him.
So you watched Eddie Murphy
Oh,
Delirious.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's where that's from.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, we watched it.
I showed it to Ben a few weeks ago.
couple weeks ago, yeah. God, I love Eddie
It
Murphy.
reminds me of my child.
Back when he was dirty, before he
So much better.
Back when comedy was just dirty and you could just offend everyone.
Yeah.
It was great.
So when comedy was good.
It was when comedy was good. That's right.
And on that note...
To be fair, it's not everyone's fault that Louis C.K. started taking the piss down. That's not...
Don't connect those two dots, alright? Leave them separate.
So today we're going to start with Kelsey's impressions on The Incredibles 2, because the other 4 of us were really lazy and haven't seen it yet.
I thought you were going to say Kelsey's impressions. Like, she's done her joke.
And now, my impression of... Okay. Yeah, so I guess I'll give you like the premise if you haven't seen the trailers or anything like that. So taking place literally right after the last one finished. So Incredibles 1 sort of ended with the Undertaker and he like came up from the ground and stuff, and then they put the masks on and went. It literally starts like from that moment. Masks are now on and craziness ensues.
As we've all aged terribly.
Yeah, so they have not,
reminder.
but we really have.
But do you really want to see The Incredibles for like 14 years later?
I would be happy if Violet
I
grew up
did.
about 10 years. Is that okay to say?
Oh god. Yeah. So and then it's similar storyline. Like there's still issues with the whole. They don't like the superheroes and they're still outlawed or whatever banned.
X-Men.
Yeah. And
Thanks for ruining that.
main story, I guess, is this time there's like another sort of rich dude who's like, "Hey, I like superheroes. Let's give them some good profiling and blah blah blah." And he thinks that Elastigirl's the way to start. But he is interested in Frozone and Mr. Incredible. But he's like, "Oh, Elastigirl's sort of a great place to start because she doesn't break shit and cause problems." So she's sort of then out, and then obviously Mr. Incredible has to look after the kids, and then that like normal stuff goes wrong, I guess, you know, with boys for Violet and Dash. And,
There's like a 40 minute break in the script that just is like asterisk, hilarity and shoes.
Yeah.
Asterisk.
yeah. And that's kind of it. So I guess walked in because I was a bit concerned because it's been 14 years or something, and the characters didn't take a break. I thought that was a weird move as far as the storyline. I wouldn't have done that, but I was a little bit worried about that. And then just from the trailers, like they seem to have a little bit of an over reliance on the whole Jack has a million powers thing, like
Which is
really capitalize
BS.
on that.
Just by the way, he can't have everything.
Yeah, well, he literally does.
When he grows up, he'll be
Bullshit.
Superman, and that will be boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no one will watch it.
He doesn't have his like signifying ability.
He'd be like Peter in Heroes. Anyone ever seen Heroes?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Peter
loved
was
Heroes.
a problem.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
You can't write a character like Peter because he gets so boring so
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have to give him amnesia, and then you have to take his powers away, and
Yeah.
all sorts of shit.
All right, someone didn't like Heroes.
I liked it too much, is the problem.
Yeah,
It
fair.
disappointed me.
Yeah,
I understand
I
that
agree.
completely.
People like vulnerability. At least that's what I
People like seeing weaknesses in characters as
Yeah.
well.
I like the whole anti-hero thing.
Yeah.
Like, they've got to, like, they're alcoholics or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that baby Jack.
Come on!
Take that whiskey bottle.
I guess his weakness is that he's a baby. So I don't know, maybe
Low attention span. He can't focus for more than a minute.
he
on
can't
his
see
enemy.
shapes.
He can't. He can barely recognize his own mother.
He doesn't have object permanence. So, is it the same story basically as the first one?
Yeah, kind of. Like, it's all about them aiming towards getting this whole, I guess, treaty signed, because they've everything sort of works, and Elastigirl does actually have a positive effect, and everyone's like, yeah, we're ready for heroes to come back, and then leaders hear this, and then it's all kind of heading towards the conclusion of signing this treaty and saying, yes, let's bring heroes back. And yeah, to be honest, there isn't really anything that different. So there's just the exploration of Jack's powers. But again, like you guys were saying, it's a baby and he has no control, and it's just kind of used as a funny thing. Like, so he just a random new thing pops up every 5 seconds. Like, I think at the end of it, they said something like he had 17 powers. I didn't count,
Exactly.
but there was
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So, and that's what we know of.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there was a few times, like, I think the villain as well, I was a little bit disappointed because it's exactly who you think it's going to be.
Right.
Whereas I thought I thought it would have been great if the person who's the villain in this film was the villain of the first one, because there's kind of very little motivations. They have the same hatred of superheroes, so why not just flip it and then have Syndrome be the villain of this one, because then it's like, oh, that was the kid from that first. Like, you could have that moment. I thought that would have been better instead of, like, the villain in this one I don't think is very, I don't know, compelling. The reasons are just kind of lame, and I saw it coming. I don't know if that's because it was a kid's film, and I wrote that in the review that I need to remember that I shouldn't maybe judge it too harshly because it is a kid's film. But
it is Pixar, right?
Pixar, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
Disney
Pixar holds the
Pixar.
highest standard, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's directed by Brad Bird, who started off on I don't know if he started on The Simpsons, but he did the early Simpsons episodes and Iron Giant, and really stepped onto his own in the animation sphere. I was just looking at the cast. It's got Bob Odenkirk and Jonathan Banks, which is kind of like a Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul type. I always like it. Pixar do that. They did that with the Finding Dory. They had Dominic West and Idris Elba playing walruses together.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like, well,
That's excellent.
that's great.
Those
Like,
things you never notice it.
yeah, you just notice it, but it's just a little nod, like,
Yeah.
Mum and Dad, we know you like drugs.
Please enjoy the film.
And yeah, Pixar always kind of transcend beyond that kids' domain. My favorite Pixar film is Up. I love Up.
You have no soul. It's so sad.
It's beautiful. I watched it.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
I watched it on an aeroplane. I'm sitting next to this kid and I'm just crying watching the first 9 minutes of this film. And I'm like,
Don't look at me.
I also cried at the end of Men in Black 3. I think I might have just been tired of that point.
But his dad.
I always forget which movies are Pixar and which ones are just straight Disney.
animation.
Yeah, because especially now that Disney are, they're all 3D animated, they're no longer 2D. They've all kind of melded into.
Well, it's like
they're each other.
It's like you made me think of Big Hero 6 because there's that
that-
point
oh,
with the
that's Pixar,
drugs thing. Is it Pixar or is it's Disney?
No, it's Disney Pixar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's
just made me think of that because there's that bit where there is literally like the two main characters from Breaking Bad in the back of the truck.
You're right. Yeah. That's it.
There was a
I didn't
little
know
nod to that too.
Bryan
Yeah.
Cranston and Aaron Paul.
Yeah, I don't know if they were actually playing the roles, but they had the same names in,
They did.
in the characters in the
Walter
yeah, it was
and
Walter
Jesse.
and
Wasn't
and,
that
Jesse?
Wasn't that Zootopia as well?
Was it in Zootopia?
I think Zootopia.
Maybe
Zootopia was the big drug story.
Maybe I'm thinking of Zootopia.
That is really
Zootopia had the
It was the two-
animal that the bunny that investigated crime.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a real.
Zootopia's a brilliant movie.
Yeah, fantastic movie.
Yeah.
That's from the same studio that did Frozen, so that's
Yes.
They're
like
Disney.
That
Yeah,
that was
that's
straight
Disney.
Disney.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean, right? Like
caught up to Pixar almost.
they've all kind of mashed
Yeah.
into this one conglomerate.
Because Pixar stepped away from Disney for a while. This is going back to
Was Wall-E Pixar?
just Pixar.
Just straight Pixar?
And
No
then
Disney?
They It was Disney I think it was Disney Pixar. I
Yeah.
don't think they actually did anything just as Pixar. I think the
Right.
separation ended very quickly. Like, let's love each other.
We
Well,
need- we need
the
money.
first movies like Toy Story and stuff are just straight Pixar.
Yeah.
That's
Didn't they
Disney.
buy
Really?
them
No,
over?
they're Disney.
No,
they bought
they're-
them after.
Yeah, they bought them after.
Yeah,
Yeah. So there's lots of
those
individual-
first movies are all just by themselves.
Yeah.
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 Well, when was the first big Disney Pixar?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I
If it was after Toy Story.
Yeah, it was definitely.
always thought that Disney. Okay.
No,
Bugs Life?
they bought them later. Yeah.
Because they were kind of
sounds
their
right.
only competitors, and then they bought them.
Yeah.
Bugs Life is the only one that doesn't have a sequel now.
Is it?
If you think about it.
And you know what? That's okay.
They said all they could about
That's fine.
bugs.
No,
Wall-E too.
No, there is. It's called Ants.
They came out at the same
That
time.
was
They did
so
come out at the same
unfortunate,
time.
wasn't it?
They're basically the same movie.
They
as
could
well.
do Wall-E too. It's like the world still broke out.
Wall-E was a great movie.
I liked Wall-E. I thought it was.
It got a lot more real than I thought it would.
Yeah, they do that. They're not.
They sneak it
And
because they
I'm-
don't reveal anything in trailers.
I like that in children's films
Yeah.
because there's this thing in cinema where studios or directors or screenwriters think that children can't deal with reality. And that's it's just noises and colours and
Yeah.
And
you know,
fast-paced animation.
Yeah.
I think they don't have long attention spans.
yeah, you can
Yeah.
give children stuff like life and death and love and hope and despair, and they can digest it. And if you break a child, well, welcome to reality.
Actually,
Like,
on that note, they had like you know how they always have a short animation before the
Yeah.
movie?
Oh, what was it?
They've gotten really
was it the little
gorgeous and
dumpling?
weird.
Yeah, it's a
They
little
have.
dumpling
Yeah.
one. So if you've
Beautiful
seen it
ones.
on YouTube, it's already there. Yeah, so it's like about dumpling, basically. And then a mother like raising the dumpling and, you know, basically going through all of the motions of what a mother goes through of her kids. So initially it's like, you know, Mom, I want to hang around all the time. And then, you know, he gets a girlfriend and then he doesn't want anything to do with her.
Girlfriend,
And,
dumpling.
yeah, the dumpling is dating somebody. And then...
The dumpling cheats on him and he becomes a severe alcoholic.
Date a human becomes like a weird B movie scenario.
I like that at the start of the Pixar, they're like, okay, we'll breathe sentient into toys, you know, sentient life into toys, bugs, and we're going to give, you know, cars, this thing. And it's just like, what are you hungry for today? Dumplings. All right, dumplings. Make that a thing.
yeah, never eat one the same again.
See the
Have we done a Pixar film about fans? Just on the roof. Well, what do they do all day? Yeah, all right, let's make
They
it.
have crack wise and like talk to each other. Yeah, let's produce that.
So what were you saying about the short?
Yeah, I guess I'll just spoiler it. So yeah, it goes through that whole storyline, and then he's just about to like walk off, like he's like, "Hey, Mom, I'm marrying this girl, and screw you, I'm leaving." And she's like having this big fight with him, you know, to like stop him from leaving the house. And then she eats him, and then starts to break down into tears and crying, and you know, it's like, "Oh my God, I just killed him." And then she's like lying in bed and like
Not
crying.
again, not again.
And there's a knock on the door, and then there's like the son who looks like a splitting image of that dumpling is there. And so it was all like a real story of obviously that he has left his mother for a long time, and then there he is with like the little packed lunch that they had every day, and you know, he's apologizing to her, and then they hug at the end.
I'm sure I'd had to see it, but it sounds weird.
It
It
does.
was a little, especially when she ate him.
Yeah,
The audience was like, "What the
I was
hell
like,
is going on?"
is this Antichrist? Who directed this?
Yeah.
Was there any, because I know a lot of those shorts, they usually go for the silent movie style, so is there
Yeah.
any dialogue in it?
No.
Okay.
No. So even when they were kind of arguing, it was like,
like
a little
that.
bit of that kind of like noise, like Pingu noises. Yeah. no, yeah.
Just a bit of anti-Trump propaganda.
If you play it backwards.
So to wrap up an Incredibles, what are your final thoughts?
I think similar to what I said in the review, I think it's still good. Like I enjoyed it. I thought it was worth seeing for sure. I did kind of put my expectations very low when I went in there, and I was pleasantly surprised when I left. And just going in with the mentality of that it's a kids' film as well, I think you will enjoy it enough. Yeah, still entertaining.
You know what would be a good ending? Is if the dad gets Jack and he's like, he's got 17 powers. Look. And he drops him off a building. but he's not full resistant. That's the 18th power he doesn't have.
He doesn't have
He's
super strength.
flat. And that's Pixar's big final statement on the series. That Jack
Just a
dies.
dead baby. Yep. Yeah. Okay.
I haven't done that yet.
Does anyone get the big cult following behind The Incredibles?
I don't. I never thought it was that good.
I mean, I liked when it first came out. God knows how long
It's
ago.
got that usual Pixar charm.
That's
There's
what I mean,
nothing
yeah.
offensive or gross about it. It's,
I think the characters.
well made.
I think the characters are good. I think Syndrome is a fantastic villain.
Yeah.
And like in hindsight, was the real driving force of the first movie because the actual family are quite, I don't know, plain.
It's charming. It just doesn't have that Shakespearean hook that all the great Disney movies kind of have, like, Lion King and Finding Nemo. They've got that sort of like grand epic. It's either
Storytelling.
or it's
Well, everyone talks about the first one being the perfect superhero film. And I've never looked at it in that way. I always thought it was just a generic superhero film.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about, it's
yeah.
perfect, it's the perfect superhero film. And I never thought it was. I always thought it was just the most generic superhero film that you could have.
It does have that, like, Syndrome, as you're saying,
Yeah.
Ben, was a great villain because he's got that kind of, it's that irreverent, superheroes are so lofty, they're above us all. And
It was the backstory they crafted for him. The motivation that he had for being the way he was exceptional.
Yeah, because it's sort of, it's not a parody of superhero films, but because it's got that irreverence, it's able to do that. But then you have films like Watchmen, not the Watchmen, Zack Snyder, that irreverence has been accommodated into superhero films now.
Right.
So I don't think it
So you're saying back when Incredibles came out,
I can
probably hit better. It hit further.
well,
better.
I saw it when it came out. I didn't love it. It's just
it's fine. Yeah.
it's fine, and but I think that it's if I was going to make a case for it being this great superhero film, it would be that tone it's got about superheroes.
I never thought it was that good of a tone either. I thought it was just a generic kind of. It was like Pixar trying to do X-Men. It's the same thing. I'll say again. All right, so not Pixar trying to do X-Men. It's Pixar trying to do the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, that's a lot
Well,
better.
everyone always says
But did it come out before the Fantastic Four?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it was 2000.
It was very close.
But either way,
each other.
we've been gifted so many great villains in superhero movies
Yes.
now
Now
that have that sort of attitude that Syndrome had.
Yeah.
So like you look at we already spoke about Homecoming, but you look at Michael Keaton's character in that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
brilliant. It's the everyday
It is,
man.
excellent.
He doesn't exactly hate superheroes, but he kind of just
No, he's
dislikes them. He thinks they're in the way, and he just wants them to leave him alone.
It is. That is a great intro to Homecoming. You see the aftermath of was it
Of Avengers.
of
the first
Avengers,
one.
the first Avengers. Yeah, and it's the thing people actually think about. It's like what happens to all the buildings after they're destroyed and everything, and then they actually show it.
Yeah.
I like
It's
that
good
in
world
One
building.
Punch Man, where he
Yeah.
punches the asteroid. And it
Oh, I love that.
doesn't go well.
I love that.
But it makes
He
sense.
saves
What else is he
everyone.
supposed to do?
Everyone gets pissed off at him, and then he just is like, "Well, what do you want me to do?"
Punch the asteroid, don't punch the asteroid.
Yeah, did you all want to die?
You're welcome.
Just in The Incredibles' defense, in 2004 it came out. So that's only 4 years after the first X-Men film. So that's a pretty quick turnaround on getting on that superhero film wave.
And it's before the Marvel era.
That's
of
what I was
Iron
going
Man.
to say. Like
yeah.
Iron Man came later,
Yeah.
and that's considered the one that launched it all.
Yeah.
So if you think about it in that way, and same with the whole villain thing we were talking about, like there was nothing that really preceded it. With Syndrome's outlook on if everyone is special, no one is. I always thought that was really cool that they did that with him because I remember thinking that as a kid. I was like, "Ooh, I've never thought of it like that.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's such a cool."
And there's a little bit of you that was kind of on his side.
Yeah,
It's just like, the
yeah.
kid who's been beaten down, and you're like, yeah, I can kill superheroes
Yeah,
if I
he'd
want
want
to.
to be super, and why?
Yeah.
Why
I was
can't
also
everybody?
eaten by my mother dumpling. I think that at the time it was probably more cutting edge. But
Yeah, I think so.
Probably hasn't. Not that it hasn't aged well. I'm doing quotation marks on a podcast. That's silly. It hasn't. It probably holds up as far as the content goes, but I think content has probably caught up to it a bit as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's a product of its time.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say that.
people it's rose-colored glasses for the most
Because
part.
another thing that, like, with the plot of this film, the fact that the whole anti-superhero thing was still going, I thought that didn't age well, because I'm like, we've literally been dealing with 10 years of yay superheroes with mine, like maybe a few DC in there saying superheroes suck, but otherwise everybody's been on board.
That's my biggest problem with the second movie. I haven't seen it, but my biggest problem... No, but even before, watching the trailer, I did a trailer talk where I spoke about it.
You did, yeah.
My biggest problem with it is that they didn't do a time jump. It doesn't make any sense 14 years later to not do a time jump. It didn't have to be 14 years, but it
could have been a little bit.
It should have aged them up.
Well,
and
who's
that's
the
actually a
audience
really
for
great
it?
way to say it, because it is for us who've gone through that. Monsters Inc. did a
well, they went back.
They went back,
Yeah.
but it was still sort of a time jump when you
It was a
think of
time jump. Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't a time jump.
Yeah,
But technically they went
but I
backwards.
mean, they go back to college because the people who watched the first one were now in college. It's kind of reversed.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, so it didn't have to be 14 years. It could have been 5-10 years. But
It could have been...
And what you're saying was a great point. We've been going through 10, 14 years of superheroes are great.
Yeah.
And then you just get a movie where it's like, no, they're bad.
Well, also the plot point of, human beings don't like people that are different. That's very mid-noughties. That's very...
It's
It
been
is.
done.
X-Men 7 resolved that at some point.
Yeah.
We've done that whole mutants are rejected thing.
Yeah.
And also, even things like in our culture, just how it's reflected in sort of, LGBTQI plus and equal right. We're at a point now where those issues, there's like a right side of history, and we know it's not like the depressing kind of, people don't like superhero. It's dated.
It doesn't
I was going to
resonate.
say,
No.
yeah, because I thought the whole getting Elastigirl to the forefront thing seemed dated to me too. Like, they made a real point of being like, she's a mom and she can have a job too. And I'm like, yeah, we've known that for a while.
Where I'm here, I've got a baby on my arm, I'm drinking on the job.
And even the joke of the what's the dad's name? I've forgotten now.
Just say Mr. Incredible.
Mr. Incredible. Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah. Even the joke of him being like the clueless dad is dated as shit.
Exactly.
I
Sure,
fucking
yeah.
hate that joke.
exactly.
I can't stand it.
I do think the trailer essentially shot the movie in the foot.
Yeah.
I'm a man. How do I hold a baby? Is it by the toes? No, isn't that funny? Like, it's
And he's a big buff guy, so he's like, how do this?
how do I change nappy? Me no. Yo, poo on my hair. Like, he can't.
But it kind of did feel like that to me. Like,
That sucks.
those two things. Like, so I guess 3 in total. So the fact that it was a woman in the forefront, I'm like, okay, good for you guys.
What The Incredibles 3 should do is have Elastigirl and Mr. Incredible develop a polyamorous relationship with numerous couples. And
I can't handle Jack anymore. He's getting new abilities by the day.
That's okay. I'll take him to the community of dads that occasionally make out and explore those dads
With other dads?
Oh, okay.
My God.
So
Yeah,
we did the wrap up of Incredibles in the
can't
middle
record-
of that conversation.
That was the beginning of the conversation.
It was in the middle.
Yeah, whatever.
So in the end, Kelsey, you wrote a review. If you want to read it, you can head to the website. Everybody knows where that is.
Just say again. Where is it?
FilmBunker.com.
You got to plug it.
with a dash.
Yeah, film-bunker.com. Or you can wait to the end screen and click on the link.
Yeah, you got to plug this. Come on.
Anyway, so one thing I wanted to talk about was the trailer for Bumblebee. Has anybody seen that?
Yes.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't. Is that the dude from Transformers?
Yes.
Is getting a film?
It's getting a prequel film set in the 80s.
I can't wait for Jazz, the movie.
Jazz he should not have been killed in the first film.
I'm pretty sure he got killed twice in the first film. I'm sure.
He was my favourite character.
I said this. I think
One
I've said
minute.
this on another podcast, but I was watching the end of Transformers in 2007, and I was because I used to pride myself as a kid because I knew all the little Autobots. I knew Prowl, I knew Wheeljack, I knew Ratchet, I knew Ironhide, I knew all of them, and I was like, "There's Jazz. Oh, Jazz has just been ripped in half. That's really sad." And then he's back at the end of the movie. I mean, well, that can't be continuity ever. I don't have a clue what's going on in this movie.
So for the Bumblebee trailer, you haven't seen it, Matt.
No, I have
And
not.
neither of you, so-
Michael
okay.
Bay's Transformers
So,
series is dead.
Michael
to me.
Bay is not directing this one.
No.
Travis
Okay.
Knight is directing this one.
Okay, he's dead to me.
Is this the start of the? So I heard not too long ago that they were essentially going to try and reboot or
Well,
redo
Bay said that
Transformers.
he's not. Well, Bay said that he's not directing anymore.
Yeah, so not Bay, but like
I don't
as
know
a-
if it's
as-
like a reboot
as a
The,
franchise.
the idea of it is a little interesting to me because what I read about it was that it is going to be kind of not a period piece, but it's going to be set in the 80s.
It's in the 80s, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Cool.
which is always just a bit more art to it. Right, immediately
Okay.
you're like,
so let me
okay.
crush your dreams. now.
So does it suck?
Well, I think the trailer looks like it is the exact same thing that Michael Bay was doing.
Yeah, fair.
I watched it and it is the same tropes, just the same story even by the look of it. I mean, the trailer doesn't give you much about the story, but it starts off and guess what? Bumblebee's broken down in a car lot. So the girl takes him and fixes him up.
Well-
and then she...
Well, how do these Autobots?
Yeah.
They go into these big battles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just.
And then it's like, oh, my wheel's broken.
My favourite part
You need a
is
pit crew.
obviously where she gets the name from. Obviously, he's a beetle in this one.
Yeah.
But there is a bee's nest on the bottom of him on the car. And the second I saw that, I was like, how much lamer can you get?
How about you just talk to the sentient robot and ask it its name?
So she fixes him up. She takes him. She takes him home pretty much. And then there's a scene of her like leaving him from the garage after going for a drive around, and a piece falls off on the bottom of the car. So she goes and she looks under the bottom of the car, and she sees his face. And I'm like, why do they keep their faces at the bottom of the car?
It's like it's in its garage.
Yeah,
Oh
literally.
man, I hope I don't have to stand
Looking
with my face in my dick all day.
And then-
this is gonna smell.
Then he lights up, and then he gets up, and then he goes and hides in a corner.
Okay,
Because that's
cool,
what you want to
cool.
see from your amazing hero. The first action is him cowering as an Autobot in the corner until she next trope until she walks up and gives gives him her hand and strokes his face.
What?
And then he likes her.
What is the point of Hollywood?
No, exactly. These are the kinds of films that I just write them off completely because it's just people
Yeah.
collecting their paychecks.
Yeah.
Because
It is. It
There's
is.
no
exist.
need for it.
Yeah.
Straight away, that's like
no.
the
Yeah.
first question you can answer. Is
And
like,
it's the same
did we
thing.
need this?
Yeah.
No.
You know what we really need? We need to explore this Yellow Camaro's origin story when it was a Beetle in a different franchise.
How did it just go from a Beetle into a Camaro?
I don't know.
Because in the first one he's driving along, he's like, couldn't she be anything better than a Beetle? And then he sees a Camaro, he scans it, and he
just
turns
changes
into a
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, product placement.
Mainly that.
Yeah.
Mainly that.
See, I was excited for the 80s thing. I was excited that he was a bug. And I was excited, well, I hoped that he would be speaking. Because that really
No,
made...
he's not.
God damn it.
Why is
That made
his
me
face
so
in his
mad.
crotch? Yeah, we all had those toys that got stuck. And it's like, oh, I can't transform it. He's like, oh, I'm going to play with it. Like, they've made a movie about a broken action figure.
So anyway, the rest of the trailer is just, you know, your standard action stuff. You get a shot of John Cena, who's in it,
Oh, yay.
as an army man of some
I
sort.
did like him in Ferdinand the Bull.
I haven't seen it. I'm not sure. You did a review for it
Yes,
on the website
I
as well,
did.
didn't you?
Yeah,
Yes.
he did it. He was very charming in the role.
But that's just voice acting. That's
That
not,
is
yeah.
voice acting, and he's got that thing where he's got this big dumb thing about him, but he means well. I'm a bull, and it's like, okay, that works.
It works, yeah.
I
It works
don't
with
know if
John-
I
don't
like
know
it.
as an army man, I'm not too sure.
No.
Has anyone seen him in Blockers yet? Because I heard
Uh,
good things about
right.
I mean,
It
it's-
was funny, but I don't like
Yeah.
comedies because they make me sad.
I mean, yeah, it's just one of those dumb comedy movies, I think.
Yeah, because
I
I
don't
wasn't
know.
sure if he did well in that. Like, I haven't seen him. Oh, what if... Oh,
seemed
I've seen him
alright.
act in that one with Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I heard
Trainwreck?
he was funny.
Trainwreck. He
I
was...
heard-
I mean, he was hardly in it. in the
Yeah.
grand
I
scheme,
heard he
we
was
haven't-
funny in
Yeah,
that.
I thought he was actually... I didn't know it was him until afterwards. I was like, that was John Cena? The guy crying after sex?
When I had sex with him, he didn't cry.
So the next thing I wanted to say about the trailer is just the weird interaction between the main character and Bumblebee. There is one shot of her diving... No, listen to this.
Look at your crotch.
There's one shot of her diving underwater, and he's underwater, and she's just looking down at him, and she's like stroking his face, and just looking at him in like really sultry, and it's so weird.
Man.
It's really off-putting. And then there's like another scene of her hugging him, and there's the whole thing where she strokes his face.
There's a movie.
It's like a romance story almost.
Ew.
What's
There's a
reality?
movie-
Is that-
I don't know if it's just the trailer's fault for making it look like that. but,
There's a movie
yeah.
called. They shouldn't have done the trailer like that.
No,
even
that's
if
what I'm
not in
saying.
person.
It's awfully
Yeah,
structured.
it's not on purpose. They still shouldn't have done it. But there's a movie called Crash.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
because there was a Crash in 2005 that won all the Oscars and revived Sandra Bullock's career. But there was a movie called Crash that was about people who have an unhealthy sexual relationship with cars.
Oh yeah.
And it could be that maybe they decided to take Transformers.
I'm sure they wanted to
Honestly, that would be
Transformers.
interesting.
that would be
Watch that
interesting.
film of someone legitimately falling in love with a Transformer.
Oh man, imagine that! Imagine if all this stuff, like they take the superhero trope of the incredible. We don't love Transformers. We don't love Transformers. Why don't we love Transformers? Because one broke my heart.
Star-crossed lovers.
And John Cena cries after sex, and the Transformers don't love me. It's gonna there are people that really do like those Hollywood tropey kind of action films.
Of course,
That's
I have no problem with
fine.
them. Like something like the Mission Impossible franchise.
Yeah.
I'm so hyped to see the next one because they're just fun movies. But this just
Yeah.
looks like the exact same thing that
Yeah.
Transformers has been doing since the fourth one
And
or
I
the
get-
third
yeah,
one? Because
but
the first
the
two,
second
are
one?
right.
I was gonna say even the second you could argue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just saying.
but I can get through the second one.
yeah.
The third one is where it gets like,
Is that the
oh
dinosaur
Jesus
bots?
Christ.
Is that
That is I felt like 4 hours, but that is just 4 hours of noise, lights, and explosions.
There was one-
and it was horrendous.
There was one where they had the characters talking in really like racist voices.
Oh yeah, that's the second one.
yeah.
Don't worry about that.
But anyway, and that's fair enough that people do like that schlocky kind of thing. That's what they're hoping for, and they're going to the movies for that. That's fine. But Transformers can actually be really good. Has anyone seen the original animated movie?
No.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it's cheesy, and it's like I'm pretty sure when Unicron's eating planets, it's actually going at the start. But I remember watching it as a kid, and my favorite Autobots died in the first 5 minutes. I'm like, this is teaching me about loss, and it was dramatic, and you can tell a story with these robots. You don't have to have that status quo hum-de-dum kind of thing. It's
So to finish on the final scene of the trailer.
Oh god,
my
there's
goodness.
more.
So he can't talk, like we said, which I don't know why they couldn't have him talk. But she's like, if you can't talk, you can talk through music, and he's got a tape deck in him. So she gives him a tape, and he puts it into the tape deck. And Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up plays, and he spits it out immediately. And I'm like, how fucking dated?
ha.
How fucking dated can you make this joke?
Hardy ha ha. Should have been Despacito.
That would have been
That would have been funny.
Not time appropriate. but
Yeah, good
It's
point.
literally trolling us. That film is a troll.
I think it's trolling you.
I'm not going to watch it, so you can get fucked.
but like,
You're my bitch, Bumblebee.
Out of all of us, it sounds like you've got the most investment in the franchise.
Well,
Or, like originally.
Yeah, well, I just grew up. I remember, bright colours, robots, cool noises.
The original cartoon was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
awesome.
And
It had some
I
great
haven't
style.
followed it because after that it's just like, okay. Well, let's be honest. After Optimus Prime died, there was no point.
There was a video game, 5 years ago or something, that was based on the old style.
Yes,
of the
I heard it was
Transformers.
really good.
It was
I've never
it's
played
an
it.
excellent game, but the style of it and dialogue wise and everything was just fantastic because it knew what it was.
Yeah.
and it had the kind of campiness.
Yeah.
I like
of the
that.
80s
I like
style,
that
yeah.
in Batman Brave and the Bold too.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
it-
actually a really good show.
Yeah, it takes that sort of. It's aware of Batman's campy elements and
Yeah.
takes it into you got the dark world, and you've also got the campy one, and that's
And it uses the campiness really well for its comedy to break through a lot of the tension, and it's actually quite funny.
I was hoping that was what Bumblebee was going to be. It's going to be 80s camp. John Cena's going to cry after sex, and it's going to be fine. But unfortunately, it seems like it's like taken. Oh, we'll do the campy stuff, but we'll do it in the gritty reality world of Rick Astley, and it's
Rick Astley is the
No, it just
overlord.
It doesn't look horrible. It just looks meh.
it'll be serviceable.
Which is actually probably worse when you.
Which for me is worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is
if it just doesn't do anything,
is by leagues worse.
Yeah.
Because a horrible movie that makes you laugh is a lot better than something that just makes you go.
even just a horrible movie that makes you just think about how horrible it is. You know,
Is
if
still
you
better.
if you leave a cinema and go and you forget everything about it, it's like whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
That feeling as you're walking out of a cinema after just watching a movie and it's already leaving you. And I'm pretty sure it's not my old age or alcoholism. I'm pretty sure it's the movie's fault at that point.
Not
It's like,
So just before we get into the bunker battle, I just wanted to quickly ask if anyone has seen the trailer for Bad Times at the El Royale.
I have.
You have?
Yeah, I
Has
have.
anyone else seen it?
No.
curious.
It looks interesting.
It looks interesting.
Yes.
It's got an amazing cast.
Yes.
And it just the atmosphere seems very kind of Tarantino-esque. At least at the start of the trailer, it brings that.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, it kind of changes gears and goes into more of what, like would you say a thriller
I'd say
type
a thriller.
style?
My original perception of the trailer was that I actually thought it would be not necessarily horror, but thriller mystery type thing, and it portrayed Chris Hemsworth character as the antagonist, because he plays like this American sleazeball guy who doesn't wear a shirt and with a
He's almost like a Charles Manson sort of figure.
he's
That's
very
what he
much
looks like.
that.
Yeah.
And he's the last person to enter from
Yes.
what it looks like the hotel.
Yeah.
And he just looks just disgusting. But then when I read about it a bit more and you watch the trailer a bit more, it seems more like it's still a thriller, but it's more of an ensemble piece. So it focuses on each different character. So there's like a priest in there.
Yeah, so you've got Dakota Johnson,
Yeah.
Nick Offerman, John Hamm,
like him.
I can't say this name or I'm going
is
to
it?
butcher it, Kaylee Spaney, Jeff Bridges, Cynthia
Yep.
Erivo, and so on and so forth. But
It's an excellent cast.
it looks like an amazing cast. John Hamm looks amazing as he does in everything.
Absolutely.
Who's the director?
Let me double check.
John Hamm is the only reason I've been so tempted
Drew
to see
Goddard.
Tag.
Oh, okay. Actually, that reminds
Right,
me.
yeah,
I
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to talk about that Tag.
I've
with John Hamm.
been
Looks
wanting to go see it
amazing.
purely just because of him and because the premise just sounds stupid and I'm into it.
Yeah,
But,
Jerry Moreno looks funny in it too, I think.
I think a lot of them look funny in it, to be honest. But I mean, I might see that. Who knows?
John Hamm's really good.
Just in general.
He doesn't cry after sex.
I just like that he's not got himself into a box of dramas.
Yeah,
He's doing
I
heaps of other
respect that he
stuff.
tried comedy.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I
he's a
think
good comedian.
He's
Like,
pretty good, yeah.
He's really good. And he's got that self-deprecative thing about him. Like, he doesn't mind. I don't think I brought this up on the podcast. There's a show called The Increasingly Poor Decisions of Todd Margaret.
I've heard of it, yeah.
And it stars David Cross, who goes over to England. It's actually not based on his life. Well, his father is actually born in Leeds, and that's one of the running jokes. It's like, oh, my father's born in Leeds. And John Hamm has a character. It's an extended guest role, but it is so. It's not blink and you miss it, but it's so. It's not very it's not very glamorous.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he does it so well, and it's it's so. If you just type in John Hamm into and the Increasingly Poor Decisions of Todd Margaret into YouTube, you can watch the clips of it. And I don't want to give spoilers for it because it will ruin the flow of the show, but it's worth watching. It's really good.
No, he is excellent.
and he looks excellent in this.
They all do, genuinely.
Yeah, so Jeff Bridges is the priest who
Yes.
is evidently, even in the trailer, tells you is not a priest.
Yeah, so that already puts you off a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, just Jeff Bridges as a quote-unquote priest just sounds interesting.
Yeah, they're pretending to be a priest.
Pretending to be a
What's
priest.
the whole premise? Like,
So
what?
they're all meeting in this hotel.
In, like, the
that's
middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere. Well, it's not really in the middle of nowhere. It's right on a state line.
Yeah.
So the state line runs through the middle of the hotel. So it's like you're in Nevada on one side, and I can't remember which other state it was. That's on the other
Whichever
side.
one next to Nevada.
Yeah, there's about 3.
Yeah. One of those. Doesn't matter.
Anyway, so yeah, and it's kind of like an old, and they say it's like, it used to be pumping, and they had like slot machines in there and all that sort of stuff. And then it goes through, and you see some of the characters come in, and then you see John Hamm go into this back room, and he's looking through these windows that go into everyone's rooms, and can see into everyone's rooms, but it seems like he doesn't know about them. Even though I think he's the hotel manager or something.
I think so,
It kind of feels like he is. It doesn't say it, but,
they don't say a lot of their roles.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's essentially just a using of a plot device to get everyone into essentially a deserted hotel.
Yeah.
And uncover each other's secrets.
Yeah.
And things
then
like that.
Chris
And
Hemsworth
ulterior
comes in.
motives and things
Yeah,
like that.
and then there's all like tension and whatnot, and then Chris
Yeah.
Hemsworth comes in and is all kind of smooth and suave but dirty at the same time.
See, I just got
He's Charles Manson.
I just got dirty from it. That's why I kept thinking he was the main antagonist, but it sounds like they're all just a bit messed up.
Yeah.
You're probably going to get quite a few twists and turns in that. Oh, I'm not a priest. I am a priest, but I'm just looking up at the moment.
I'm not a priest, I'm an archbishop.
There was a film in 2003 called Identity, and this sounds a lot like Identity,
Okay.
which I really enjoy that film. I'm a big sucker for that sort of
Mystery.
why are we all here?
Yeah.
You know, and Clue did it in a very funny way based on the board game.
It does sound,
They're very much alive, Tim Curry.
as we found out.
And this film had, John Cusack, Ray Liotta, Amanda Peet, Alfred Molina, Clea DuVall, I don't know who that is, and Rebecca De Mornay, who I've heard of as well. But it was sort of like, one of us is a killer, who's the killer? And I always like that kind of element to a mystery.
This does sound like a very good play movie, as in you could put a stage
Oh,
production on it. Yeah.
In the end, I'm really keen for it. I think it looks great.
I think,
probably check it
the
out.
trailer did its job.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it was a good trailer.
Yeah.
I didn't do a trailer talk because I struggle to do trailer talks on trailers that are actually good.
because what can you say?
Yeah, exactly.
It's good.
And there was no head and crotch. There was no John Cena.
Yeah.
And there was no...
Weird relationship between man and machine. Which
there
I
might be.
didn't mention, and I will quickly mention this about the Bumblebee trailer. It starts off with this voiceover while she's doing getting the car and whatnot. With I can't remember who it is saying it, but he's preaching about like the bond between man and machine, and the car does like the man doesn't choose the car chooses the man. It's a line literally ripped out of Harry Potter, and it sounds so dumb.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it is horrible. But on that note, I think we'll go into this week's bunker battle really quickly, and we'll try and make this a quick one, I think.
Sounds good.
So in the bunker battle, if you don't know, we take a look at two pieces of screen media and they battle off to see who'll be preserved forever in the bunker when the world is destroyed.
With Judi Dench.
Yeah, with Judi Dench.
Oh my god.
This week, it'll be Alien and Blade Runner. The original Blade Runner.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Director's cut or
Okay, so...
Yeah, true.
because that's a big
final
difference.
cut.
Final
Yeah,
cut,
which
okay.
is the good one.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the director's cut ruins the movie.
Which you know which one I meant. You know which one I meant.
Yes, yeah. The good one, anyway.
Yeah, the good one.
So, does anyone want to start? Anyone got any general opinions?
I'm going to throw one out there right away. I've got to be honest, neither of these is particularly special to me.
Okay.
I didn't see Blade Runner growing up, and I got told, watch Blade Runner.
Yeah,
I was really hyped up. I sat down and watched it, and I lost interest pretty quick. That might be on me. Alien is also... I took in just the first movie.
Yeah.
I like it as a survival horror, sci-fi kind of premise with that iconic visual. I'm going to go with Alien
Okay.
pretty strongly because I don't like Blade Runner.
So much shit for just that.
That was horrible.
We'll cut that out in editing.
Just go with Alien.
I'm gonna bounce back at you and say Blade Runner. I didn't have that experience, I guess, but I know that people definitely oversell Blade Runner. Massive crush on Harrison Ford. Also really like the premise of was he one all along? We don't know. I loved that, the whole replicant thing. Alien I really liked too, though, and I really liked, like what you were saying, this whole survival thing. And it built a franchise. I think that would definitely need to be.
It's built genres. Well, genre.
It did. Yeah, that's true.
I think so. That's pretty like revolutionary for that movie. But I think I can't get past the cinematography in Blade Runner. It's just beautiful and amazing. And the film does go quite a long time, but I also kind of appreciate it for that reason too. There's nothing else like it, I would say, for me. I couldn't compare it to much else with its cinematography, its storytelling, and stuff like that.
But see, Harrison Ford cries after sex. Just to let you know.
No,
Han Solo does not cry after sex.
I don't know, the new one might.
That'd make his character interesting.
Ben?
Both of these movies sit in a spot where I just don't care. I know, I'm sorry. I'm trash.
Brutal.
I do, okay. Blade Runner, I've only seen the most recent one.
You've only seen 2049.
Yeah. Which was, if that's my introduction to the series. I know it's not the same. I know it can be considered very different, but it is that world. Mm-hmm. The thing I love about Blade Runner is its world building.
Oh, yeah.
I think it is phenomenal. And I think a lot of, at least is it 2049?
Yes.
It's called? I think at least a lot of the side stories and the implications that they have, especially with relationships with AI and things like that.
One of the best parts.
It's exceptional. And I can't love Blade Runner for its world building more than enough. As a movie, and the plot of the movie, just way over my head, generally, if I'm being honest. But I do... Yeah, I gotta... It's one of the few movies where even if I don't appreciate it, I gotta look at it as a piece of art, because it is. Alien has... It's done a lot, and it's definitely not a lot of stuff that's like it. It handles things like isolation really well, and not trusting each other, and claustrophobia and things like that. And I love the exploring of those themes. But if I was going to appreciate one of the movies more than the other, I'd probably go Blade Runner.
Yeah, the thing with Alien is it brings in... it's like one of the very first female protagonists.
That's true.
Sci-fi.
That's true.
That's what
too.
it brings to the table.
Yeah.
With Ripley.
But it
and
was
Ripley's an
Sigourney
amazing.
Weaver. I'm just kidding. She's great.
She's amazing.
Ripley's excellent.
Ripley's
Absolutely.
amazing.
I think Alien's just not my cup of tea, but I think neither of them are my cup of tea. But I can appreciate both for what they did.
They are both great. They're both worthy contenders.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You've
got. I think.
I'm
I'm kind of still deciding.
You're still deciding?
Yeah.
So was I, but I had to say something. So
Well, we can just have a quick discussion
we got
about it while you're still deciding.
2 Blade Runner and 1 Alien.
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
So we said Blade Runner.
So for me, between the two, it's hard to express because I've only really seen Blade Runner, the first one, once. And I feel like I really enjoyed it, but I kind of got a little bit lost in the story. And there was moments where I was struggling to recall people's names and who they were. But I love the world and I love the cinematography, like you said. Alien, it kind of sits... It's weird. It kind of sits in the same zone for me.
It does.
When
Yeah,
I watched it,
Absolutely.
I watched it and I don't remember much of it. But I remember the end more than anything, and it was
of key
good.
scenes.
I cannot tell you the name of the character the alien bursted out of the chest of. I can't.
No.
tell you.
No, but you still...
I can remember that scene very
Yeah,
vividly.
Yeah.
You still remember the scene, but you don't know the people in the scene other than Ripley.
Yeah. So it's a bit weird for me because they sit very much in the same zones. But if I add in 2049 to the mix, because the second Aliens is amazing also. I would prefer that over the first one in my opinion anyway. But if you add 2049 into the mix, I think I maintained the plot while watching it a lot better than the first one. It went over your head, Ben, but I feel like it was a little bit easier to follow than the first one.
Yeah, and that makes me terrified to watch the first one. I got some of the plot, but then I was watching parts of it as well, especially with Jared Leto, and I'm like, this is just fucking wank. This is absolute wank.
It's all very visceral and kind of atmospheric.
It's fucking wank.
I'm completely fine putting that on Jared Leto though, because
I don't
was
even
good.
I don't even mean him. I meant more just the scenes with him in, and
because I like to blame him for stuff.
I think Jared Leto.
He tries really. He doesn't phone it in. He tries really hard. Hard?
Yeah.
Too hard, not good enough.
Yeah. I'll exclude his Joker because that doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't count.
I don't mind Jared
His
Leto.
roles don't count. Let's count these others.
I don't mind Jared Leto in 2049. It was just those scenes he was in, and what was it, the weird yellow lighted room with the water, and I was like, this is... I'm sure there's a symbolism to it, but it's fucking bullshit. It's just big.
very art house style.
It
I
is.
have really good things about Blade Runner 2049.
If anything, it makes you think.
It
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't really seem to have the success they were hoping for it to have. But
It was never going to.
Because it's a cult
I heard
movie.
that it got. I don't know if 2 movies a franchise makes, but people who love the franchise seemed quite
think so.
happy with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It did a good justice, I think, to the first one. It didn't just bring out this just absolute crap story because that's what most people I think were afraid of.
Yeah.
And Ryan Gosling
it's
He
amazing.
was
carried
He's
that
a
movie. He was
fantastic
excellent.
human being.
Absolutely.
He can cry up a sex.
you made a decision?
Okay,
Yeah, I think I've decided. So, for me, I have to say that I love both of those films. Both of the original films are excellent. Haven't seen Blade Runner 2048.
49. Yeah,
2049.
2049.
I don't remember anything of the Alien sequels. I don't really care.
Fair.
It is difficult because Blade Runner is such a complex, artistic, wonderful thing that's just beautiful to watch from start to finish. But Alien, in its simplicity and in its the design of the monster specifically,
Yes.
Xenomorphs
kind of
are amazing.
spoke to me, I think, a little bit more because that was just. Yeah, just the design of it and how it sort of has that mouth within the mouth, the impregnation of a thing inside a man's thing. It's terrifying.
Acid blood.
And
Everyone has that idea in their head too, a little bit. They've got like the classic little green man from Mars with the big bulbous head and the eyes, and they've got the Morphe dude,
The Xenomorphs.
Yeah, he's got the big head
But a thing that could, eat at you from the inside is fucking terrifying.
That's
true, for
sure.
Absolutely.
And that imagery has been adapted into video games.
Yep.
I'm thinking of
It is.
Metroid
It's
and
so
all that sort of
goddamn
stuff.
influential, and I think he tapped into something like really, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that makes that like really legendary, and so I think Alien for me wins it.
Oh, okay. So
Decide
stand to me.
on.
I thought you were going to go with Blade Runner, to tell
know.
the truth.
Deciding, mate.
Guessing.
So
Lots of pressure on Nick.
I didn't want to have. I didn't want to have.
And now
to-
you're last. So there you go.
No, I didn't want to be last. I wanted
Well, you
someone else to have.
No, you should have hurried up.
Because I really thought Simon was going to go for Blade Runner.
I do. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying about Alien, though.
Yeah.
Especially for when
completely.
it was made, and the thing like they kind of. I do enjoy the older styles of horror where they could get something terrifying out of doing nothing.
Yeah.
And playing with
Yes.
darkness and things like that, and
Suspense,
sound. Yeah.
Actual suspense. And also, I miss practical special effects.
Yes,
for
absolutely, absolutely.
So I think I'm probably going to have to go with Blade Runner, though.
I'm not surprised.
Just. It's because I really do enjoy Alien.
yeah,
But Blade Runner, just like you were saying, Ben, like just the world,
yeah.
just the cinematography. Just
It's so bleak.
Harrison Ford is amazing in it. The bleakness, the cultural kind of integration that they made with like the Asian cultures and the Western cultures kind of mixing together. Just the world to me is what sticks out the most as well.
Yeah.
Whereas Alien is still a good world because it's this kind of like. It's a standard sort of sci-fi world, you just it's just spaceships, random planets sort of thing. But it kind of helped start that, I guess, to an extent.
Yeah, I don't even like the world of Alien,
it's
to be
not-
honest.
it's
Like,
not-
it's not
It's
a
a room.
It's not
It's
about
one
the
world.
world.
yeah, that's why Prometheus really sucked to me because I don't really care.
It's not a-
Yeah,
It's
it's not
about
why
where
we
came
watched
from.
it at all. Yeah.
There, you don't
Give me
watch.
Sigourney Weaver
And it
and
was
things
also-
coming out of chests.
You don't.
That's all we need.
You don't watch Alien for the world. You watch it for the actual story.
Yeah.
And the characters.
I guess the
monster.
the monsters
The
are
monster
kind of
mostly.
comparable to how good the world is in Blade Runner, I guess, because the
That's
monster's
true.
that iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to go with Blade Runner.
It's fair
Cool.
enough. It's
Fair enough, yeah.
That is,
I'm not upset about that. I'll probably watch Blade Runner in the future and love it. I just watching it at the time, I was like,
It's your
I
experiences
don't
with
get it.
it.
Yeah, you got to go in with the right mood.
Yeah,
too.
and
You do.
It's mood and it's timing and it's where you are in life.
Yeah, it's
and-
one of those.
You have to be
those
prepared
sorts
to
of
give
things,
up a day of your life.
Just sit
For-
and contemplate.
For reflection.
For preparation of watching Blade Runner. Alien, just like, oh yeah,
It's on.
it's on,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna watch it.
So, I think we'll wrap it up here today, guys. Any final words?
I cry after sex.
Because none of us got that.
I was talking about John Cena and Ryan Gosling and Harrison
Yeah, it's
Ford.
like, it's like,
I was in,
it's like
they
saying,
were-
oh, my friends cry after sex, but you really mean yourself.
everything I say is a metaphor for me.
Yes,
I think I'm gonna have to separate you two next time.
that won't change anything. You know that.
So we'll wrap it up here today, guys. Thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe here, iTunes if you're on iTunes, Castbox, and I think we're on Player FM as well. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
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 I've got this pitch for Bumblebee.